There's a really amazing scene where you're sort of sifting through Amanda Seyfried's phone. Have you ever gone through your partner's phone number?
I've never checked my wife's phone.
No, not at all. Could be before.
I've been married for 30 years, so I don't think we had cell phone. I don't even know.
How's it going, Kevin?
It's going great. And I just want to lead off by saying that before we start jumping into the movie, just on a personal note, how inspired I am by the young people like yourself who are out there protesting all over the world for social justice. It's for an old guy like me, it's a pretty amazing, monumental thing to watch, and I just wanted to highlight that before I go on and hawk my wares.
No, I appreciate that. It's been really rewarding, and for me, like, I get to work with some of the content and kind of bubble up those stories that are important and kind of discuss these topics. So I feel extra lucky to be able to bring that to such a large audience. And so let's chat your film here that you've got coming out. Everyone's sort of looking for an escape at the moment, but this is definitely not the escape that you want. You want to tell me a little bit about the inspiration behind this one?
Yeah, you probably wouldn't want to write a great review for this house. I had been talking to my wife about, genre films, and she just kind of in passing said, what about a horror movie that is, revolves around a marriage? Now, I don't know how to take that coming from my wife, but I thought it was a really cool idea. And I had made a film about 20 years ago called Stir of Echoes with great David Koepp, who wrote and directed You Should Have Left. And I had been bugging him for 20 years. I finally wore him down basically after 20 years. And then we started to talk about this idea of a horror movie with the backdrop of a marriage, and it really just kind of sprung from that.
The idea of setting it in a house that is obviously a terrible experience, did that come from anywhere? I mean, have you had any terrible hotel experiences?
Well, yeah. Listen, I mean, so much of my life I've lived out of the suitcase, going from location to location to location. A lot of people just assume that most movies are made in LA or New York, but I've had a very small amount of my work actually occur in either of those places. And I'm on the road. If you're going someplace for 2 or 3 months, you really want to live there. I want to be able to cook. I want to have a kitchen. I want to be able to do my own laundry. So you're sometimes going into somebody else's world, and there's a moment in the movie where they walk in and people have taken you see all the hooks on the walls where photographs of the family or whatever is taken. This has happened to me countless times, and there's just something about that living in a place that really is not yours, that just has a basically kind of creepy vibe to it, And the normal cliche of a scary house in a horror movie is to have a gothic kind of construction and ivy covered and creaky old antiques. And well, what if it was just a modern house? And in Wales, that doesn't seem like the easiest thing really to find. And sure enough, this house popped up. It's cold and it's beautiful, but it's very minimalist and does not feel like a warm, sort of inviting kind of place. And it was so perfect for us and perfect for the film.
So within that space, and actually the set it's really fascinating because you have so many different corridors and things that you're going down. Mm-hmm. What was all of that filmed within the house? Like how did you do that?
Yeah, that was one of the things that David really started creating right out of the gate in terms of the house, is that the house would have its own kind of shifting and changing, and the time and space and the location of the rooms and stuff would get kind of confused as the paranoia starts to begin. From a production design standpoint, really a great, fantastic accomplishment of recreating that house exactly, except having it be able to kind of grow and change and morph. So we spent, I guess, the majority of the film in Wales, and then kind of came down in London finish it up on those beautiful sets for a couple of weeks.
So I wish we were to talk horror in general for a little bit, because you seem to have kind of dipped your toes in this world for quite a while, actually. I mean, you've done Tremors, Flatliners, Hollow Man, Friday the 13th. Why horror? Why do you think that is the genre that you sort of gravitate towards?
Well, in its best incarnation, it makes for some really great performance challenges, because you can't just have one scary face and just, play it for the whole movie, and the kind of horror that I dig is character based, and I like to sort of differentiate between horror and, kind of torture porn or slasher. To me, it feels a little bit different, It's characters who are in life and death situations or confronted with things that are absolutely terrifying, and that makes for great stuff to act. Really, I mean, I've bounced around in genres, and I think it's because I bounce around as a consumer. I love to see something that makes me laugh until I cry. I love to see something that makes me cry until I laugh. I don't know, like to see something that scares the shit out of me, and I want to feel things when I walk into a theater. So
absolutely. So we touched on a little bit about how this is a relationship thriller, and infidelity definitely comes into play here. There's a really amazing scene where you're sort of sifting through Amanda Seyfried's phone while she's in the bathtub. Have you ever gone through your partner's phone number?
I've never checked my wife's phone. That's what you're trying to ask.
No, not at all. Could be before.
Well, I've been married for 30 years, so I don't think we had cell phone. I don't even know. What we were trying to tap into there is this idea of a man who is at this point in his life where, he's ready to he's retired and he's sort of ready to slow down, and he's no longer in his sexual prime, and he's got plenty of money where he's not really working, and he's got this brand new child who is probably more exhausting than he can actually handle at this age. And I know plenty of guys who are exactly in that sort of, position in life. And here's this relationship, which on the outside looks great, but I think he's got doubts and insecurities about himself, and he falls victim to those doubts and insecurities very strongly in this. And the fact that she is so much younger than him was something that was very, very intentional. I mean, that was always our idea, to create this kind of relationship where not only was she younger, but she was also in a profession that he just doesn't really understand, and also that requires a lot of intimacy and travel and living and working and long hours, and that piece of it I know. I know that even in our relationship, when you send somebody off to go to work, there's a strange kind of having to share that person with another group of people that you don't know, and there's things that happen, and relationships are formed, and experiences that people have had that you're not really a part of, and then that person comes home, and it's sometimes that can be challenging.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a wild thing to watch on screen. So I have one final question for you. As an aspiring DILF, DILF, are you familiar with the term DILF?
No.
I'm sure that you've heard of MILF.
Oh.
Just flip it.
Oh, okay. How is it? How is what? I mean,
how is it being a DILF?
How is it being a DILF? Oh, thank you. I'll take it. I don't know what to say other than thank you. At this age, that's much appreciated.
Trust, when I mentioned that I was interviewing you, there was plenty of people that were very, very, very excited. So I'm like, wow, okay. You definitely still got it.
Good, good. Listen, as I like to say, I'm doing what I can with what I got.
That's all we can do, honestly.
All we can do.
Well, Kevin, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
No pleasure.
Because you can't get to the theater, we're bringing the theater home to you with Xfinity Movie Premiere.
You chose this place, not me.
You sent me the link.
I absolutely did not. You sent it to me.
Our brand new service that lets you watch all the latest movie releases from the comfort of home. You Should Have Left. Available now.
I love this.
Just say Xfinity Movie Premiere into your voice remote to bring the theater to you.